This is Viterbi Voices, your chance to hear stories about research, classes, student life, and more.
Directly from our students, faculty, and other members of our engineering community. All right here at the USC Viterbi School of Engineering.
Welcome back into Viterbi Voices. This is the season 6 premiere episode. Is that right, Audrey?
Yes. The very first one.
Very first one. Welcome back, Audrey, back to the podcast. It's great to have you back for your second season. You wrapped up what I think we talked about last time at the end of season 5, the most prolific podcast producer we've ever had in Viterbi Voices history. Are you going to beat that record for season 6?
Oh gosh, I don't want to commit myself to anything, but we'll try.
All right. Well, remind everybody. Let's remember who I am and then who you are. My name is Paul Ledesma. I didn't do that. This is how out of practice we are. My name is Paul Ledesma. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admission and one of your co-hosts here for Viterbi Voices, the podcast.
And my name is Audrey Roberts. I'm now a senior studying mechanical engineering here at USC.
And of course, we are not together. We are Zooming this podcast recording from different places. I am currently in the LA area. And Audrey, where are you right now?
I am in Colorado.
In Colorado. And joining us on this podcast, it's her first time on the podcast. It's Sheetal. You want to introduce yourself, Sheetal?
Hi, my name is Sheetal Madnani. I'm a senior studying chemical engineering with a minor in political science. Super excited to be here today with Paul and Audrey.
And did you say where you're from? Did I just skip that? Did I miss that?
No, you're good. I'm from Guangzhou, China. So for all my international student listeners out here, hello.
Right before we started recording this, I was shocked that this is your first time on the podcast as a senior. This is crazy. Why did it take so long for us to get you on the podcast?
I don't know, but better late than never.
That's right. Well, hopefully we can have you on more than just this once, Sheetal. So thanks for being here. So as a quick recap, this is the season 6 premiere. Welcome back for all of you that are diehard listeners, all 10 of you. We appreciate you being here. And when we left, it was, when did we post that last one up? Audrey, do you know? Was that May?
I don't even know. Yeah, sometime in May. So a lot has happened since
May
then.
2020. We thought we were on the back end of COVID-19. We thought, hey, I'm sure this will all be fine by the school year. And here we are in August of 2020. And it's no different. It's worse in a lot of different areas. It's nothing light to talk about, although we have to laugh about it, right? I mean, like, we've been stuck at home for this entire time. The only way to look at it is by laughing at it, but it's obviously a very serious issue across the world, and it's affecting everyone in very different ways, and it's affecting all of us. But we wrapped up the academic year remotely, and you all went off into your summers, and this is untraversed territory of doing virtual things during the summer. Audrey, you went and had an internship, right?
Yep. So I've been interning virtually for about 3 months now.
How has it been?
Honestly, it's been going really well. I think I've sort of acclimated to the virtual format, be it school or work or anything connecting with friends. So I think it's been I'm very fortunate to have an internship and have something I could do remotely. So I'm just excited to have that.
That's awesome. And now, Sheetal, what have you been doing for the summer? And you've been at USC this whole time.
Yeah, so I've been here in Los Angeles living slightly off campus since March because, flying internationally didn't really make sense back in March. Certainly less sense now. Mm-hmm. But I'm doing remote research, which has been interesting. Definitely not what I had in mind for this summer. Internship cancellations were all the norm back in April. But it's definitely been an interesting summer. I can't say I love work from home, Audrey.
No.
Glad it's kind of coming to an end, at least in terms of summer work.
Yeah. You said you were doing remote research. And can you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing?
Absolutely. So I'm doing research in both the Viterbi School of Engineering, where I'm doing microclimate modeling, so looking at environmental engineering dynamic models. And then I'm also doing research in the political science department on environmental policy.
That's great.
That's
That's really
awesome.
cool. For both of you, this idea of remote interning, remote research, what was something that you found easier than expected, and then something you actually found more challenging than expected?
Um, I
Just
think,
go for
sorry,
it.
go ahead, Sheetal. Go
Just
ahead.
start off with, I think, what was more challenging. It's quite isolating, I think, to be working
Yeah.
at home for the entire summer, especially when summers are when you typically meet new people, new coworkers.
Yeah.
It's kind of a period of interpersonal growth, and that's been really hard to do this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that's a tough part. I think that's especially tough about school. But working remotely, I think it's really hard to sit all day for me. Like,
Totally.
really, really be seated. So
Yeah.
at least with class, I had some considerable breaks so I could go move around, do something, but that's
Mhm.
not as easy sort of when you're working, 9 to 5, something more similar to that. So that's hard. It's hard for me to like sit still all day and calls, whatever.
Yeah.
I think easier than expected, honestly, for me, at least interning remotely, was like connecting with my team and connecting with the people I work with. I definitely had to be more intentional about it
Right.
because I'm not running into anyone, but I feel like everyone is like kind of going through similar things right now. So because of that, we all have kind of that
Right.
like common thread. So I feel like people are pretty willing to meet up virtually or that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
With your work, I'm sorry, Sheetal, go ahead.
No, and I think another advantage of working from home is, you save so much time on the commute that you end up doing things you wouldn't normally have time to do. I've been
Yeah.
cooking up a storm. It's been great.
Yeah, your Instagram, what is it? Sheetal, the sous chef?
That is, yes, in fact, my Instagram. Go check it out.
Yeah. Well, no, we were just talking about it the other day, and it's like, yes, you're cooking up a storm. That's a light way to put it. Lots of cool stuff. What is your most favorite thing that you've now done in your sous chef days?
That's a good question. I made a quiche about a month ago. That was really cool, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Audrey, have you been cooking a lot?
I've been cooking some. My family has been cooking a ton, but I have been trying to make dumplings lately, actually.
Really?
Yeah, not successfully, but it's I think it's sort of fun. It's fun to like try to fold them well. And I also been making some ravioli, so I'm into like folded.
You're into pocketed foods. That's cool. Yeah. So, professionally, this is something we've never experienced either. I would hesitate to say this. I think it's easier for us because, I mean, like for me at least, like I'm not going off and interning for the first time, and I'm not going to be a senior in college where there's a lot of kind of like rites of passage. My day to day is pretty normal these days, and I've loved it. Now, that said, going a little stir crazy, not leaving the house. I've come into many others on many occasions that I'm confident my wife wants to see me out of the house sometime soon. But yes, the lack of commute, it's fantastic. I walk to my desk rather than get on the freeway and go to campus. But I miss you guys. I miss all of our students. I miss campus. That beautiful thing of being on campus every day and being able to like walk away from your computer and just go take a walk onto campus and kind of feel that life, that energy that exists on campus. That's definitely something that I could use right now. But I gotta tell you, working from home is pretty phenomenal. We've been doing a lot of info sessions, and honestly, we've connected with more students virtually than we normally would with people visiting campus over the summer. I mean, we have 2 info sessions a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we get somewhere between 40 and 50 students at each one of these. I know, like Sheetal has been participating in a number of them virtually, and it's been a great help. And it's been great. So there's a silver lining. I'm trying to find the silver lining there, but it's something that we'll continue to do as best we possibly can. And, while COVID continues and there's still a lot of unknowns when it comes to how we're going back to campus and how you guys are all going back to campus, and the question of the LA City, county, the state, how USC is going to manage, there's still lots of unknowns. So if anybody has any questions related to any of that stuff, please check the USC website, which is coronavirus.usc.edu. There's also a new one, which is weareusc.edu, we-are-e-usc.edu. Lots of questions there, and it's constantly being updated for different things and different reasons. If you're an incoming student, I know you have lots of questions. I know you have concerns. Check those websites for resources. And it's the first time we're doing a lot of this stuff, but we're doing the best we possibly can to create a great kind of virtual environment for everybody to connect as best we possibly can. But in this day and age, COVID was not the only thing happening since we left. I mean, there have been a number of movements that have been sparked by the death of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement. And I know that you all have done a lot of work and discussing things over the summer and how we should be keeping that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the first things as a team we came together and talked about was how we feel like as student ambassadors in a field that historically has had a hard time getting underrepresented minorities involved, we feel like we have a responsibility to use our platform to amplify those voices that, for a long time have really been very quiet in the field of engineering. Yeah. And so, within the team, we've been having conversations for the last couple of months on how we can do better, how we can be more inclusive, both within the team and on our platforms, how we can work to push for, equity and diversity in everything that we publish.
Yeah, and I would just echo for our case in the podcast specifically, it's called Viterbi Voices, our, driving purpose, I would say, as a podcast is to sort of amplify voices on campus. So, it's definitely an emphasis for us to understand, where we need to do better, right? And really recognizing that, and also sort of how we can, improve on efforts we already have. So definitely a priority for our team this year and our podcast team to amplify Black voices in particular. And that's, something we've been talking about in conversations and also, getting plans together. So I just want to emphasize that it aligns sort of with our core mission, really, I think, when we go back to that.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of also aligning with what we hope are our values, as a team, to ensure that we are acting as accurate as representatives of the school as possible. That includes we're revamping our website, viterbivoices.usc.edu. You're going to see some very new shiny web pages on there very soon, but we're hoping to really have that be more of a authentic demonstration of students who aren't just VSAs, who are other Viterbi students who have experiences different to our own, because all of those voices are equally important when we're talking about the student experience.
Yeah, and I think you can see those same actions sort of extended to the podcast. We're really trying to get more people who we haven't talked to on the podcast and sort of highlight all of campus instead of course, the 20 or so people you hear from often from our Viterbi student ambassador team.
Yeah, I think that's where I wanted to kind of jump in and make sure we provide some context here. That when you say the team and you say like who you're all talking to, it's the Viterbi student ambassadors, and the Viterbi student ambassadors, or the VSAs that we tend to refer to, is 25 students. And every year it's a slightly different group of 25 students that are selected through an application process. And you all do a lot of work, and your job, as you've mentioned this, is to take sure that we're representing the student body. And we need to do better, as you've discussed. And I applaud your efforts in discussing these things. You all provide amazing services to us and working with us in admission to make sure that you're providing that student perspective and sharing your stories. And I think the thing that I'm definitely guilty of is that we keep highlighting just the 25 stories. And so we can do a much better job of this. And, just a sneak peek into some of the conversations we've been having in the last couple of months, which is let's not make it about these 25 students. Let's make it about more that are out there. And so I really applaud your efforts to shift that focus as much as you can. Of course, the Viterbi Student Ambassadors They do have great stories. We will be hearing their stories a lot throughout all of our different media, but we do have this podcast as one of them. I know that you've already made this announcement on your social media handles on Instagram, and you have a lot of fantastic kind of ideas moving forward on how to do that. You mentioned the website, Viterbi Voices, will be completely rehauled later this month, which will be a whole new look at the lives of students at the Viterbi School. We have your new live chat series that is now live. You can go to viterbi.live/chats to see a series of live events with current student panels that will be going on respective to different audiences, different conversations. It will happen every other Sunday night. Also, we'll take that audio and we'll put that into the podcast as well. So should you happen to be listening to the podcast, you can at least hear these conversations. But if you want to register for the live events, you can do that at viterbi.live/chats. And much more. We have to nail down some specific guests, but we've got some great ideas on how we're going to be continuing this conversation and adding it into not only just the podcast, but to all of our other platforms. And if you as a listener, you have ideas, you have questions, you have thoughts, please send them into us. You can email the students at vstudent@usc.edu. You can email the admission staff, my staff, and I have access to this account as well, which is vadmit@usc.edu. And so we're always wanting to hear back from you, wanting to hear more from you. And if you're a current student and you want to share your story, check out viterbivoices.usc.edu because you'll have your opportunity to start sharing your story pretty easy and quickly. Anything else you all want to talk about?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's just important to keep in mind, we will still be talking about the same things we've talked about on the podcast, but we're just trying to do it through a lens that's a little bit more considerate of how all of the activities we're talking about, all the elements of student life, how they affect different people on campus differently.
Fantastic. Well, the last thing we want to talk about is the admission process, because we're in it now, right? So for fall 2021, I can't believe we're that far along into the future, but we're in the official recruiting process for fall 2021, which means if you're a rising high school senior, you're probably in your college admission journey right now, looking at colleges. I mentioned before, we have information sessions that are going on twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And you can check out viterbiadmission.usc.edu/visit to look at those, to look at that schedule and get yourself booked for one of our info sessions if you want to learn more about the Viterbi School from one of our admission staff. Plus, we always have a few of our current students in those sessions as well to help answer questions and provide student perspective. Check out viterbiadmission.usc.edu/visit. And the application is now live. We're in the first week of August right now. The application, the Common App, went live on August 1st, and it included the USC supplement. So as a reminder, if you're planning on applying to the USC Viterbi School of Engineering, all you need to do is apply to USC, and you do that by submitting the common application along with the USC writing supplement. And you need to list one of the engineering or computer science majors as your first choice major on the application in order to be considered for the Viterbi School of Engineering. So put that down, get it in. It's not due until December 1st, so you don't need to do it now, but you can at least get into the Common App, maybe put in your name, fill out that profile information, let the Common App know that you're thinking about USC. Check that box. That'll let us know that you're thinking about it. That means we can be in contact with you and send you more information and invitations to upcoming events that are still on our radar that are tentative for the time being. So we have a number of new events that will be happening in addition to the student live chats, in addition to our 2 times a week weekly events. And when the world gets back to normal, which it will, we'll have in-person events, but just not right now. So there are no opportunities to visit campus. There are no opportunities to do any of that, but we are offering as robust of a virtual experience as we can online. And as always, our website takes our web chat whenever we're in, quote unquote, in the office. And we have our email address that we're checking and our phone number. And we have a new mobile phone number that you can call us on. It rings on our cell phones while we're working from home. And that's the admission staff here in the Viterbi School. It's 213-600-9919. Again, that's 213-600-9919. So anything else that I missed, Sheetal, Audrey?
I think we made it through.
I think we made it through our first episode.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. We did our first episode for season 6. It's in the books. We hope you all tune in next week. We got a great conversation coming for you that will really kick off the year and talk about some unique and diverse voices and their experiences on campus.